But she went crazy. She had to be all namaste. She hangs up on them.
Yeah.
And then I think her PR agent got on the phone, or James, that bootleg attorney that her and freaking Angelina from Jersey Shore used. They roasted her after. They've been giving interviews about how she's the rudest person. They also reposted, like, I did a summary of it on the website because everyone was asking me for the link, so I just put it all, like, whatever I knew on the website. They reposted my story, this radio show.
Yeah.
Reposted the story, and I can't. Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
What's up, cocktailers?
Hey, cocktailers. So I just have to warn you, I have been at a holiday lunch, had a few glasses of wine, did my best to behave. So I'm rolling in a little bit hot. B, I think you might have had a glass of wine to prepare.
I mean, I wanted to be on somewhat equal footing, and don't tempt me with, maybe you should have a glass of wine.
I mean, it's so hard because this is when I was like, I love doing this thing that I do. It's a ladies bingo afternoon.
Wait, did you mean to text me the bingo card, or were you texting that to somebody? Oh, okay.
No,
I got it.
I was sending it to you because it's so funny because it's old school bingo. You don't use the stamps. It's like a card, and there's the little slide out things, and people sign on the back if they won. And at this place that I go, it goes all the way back to the 60s in some of these cards. So it's so fun and old school.
I love that.
I know. Love that. It's so fun. You'll have to come maybe next year. Seriously, put it on your list. Let's make it happen because it is
I
so
won't
fun.
say where you live, but where Amanda lives, I've never been, and it's an incredible state. And my husband and it's funny. And I told you this when we first met over the phone, obviously. My husband always has said he wants to retire there. That's always been his thing, in his head. And he's never even been there. He may have been there for work. But he was saying it long before that. He's like, I want to retire where Amanda lives. And I'm like, that's random. It's beautiful. I've heard it's beautiful. But so we're going to retire together.
We're going to make it happen. I think
by then we'll have a podcast empire with all cocktailers with their own podcasts,
And you know what the best thing about podcasting is? You can roll in a little hot after a few drinks.
It's one of the few professions where you improve your performance.
Well, cocktailers, you guys be the judge of that one. I don't know about that, but I'm still doing it. So let's talk about, should we talk about the great news about Miami?
Yes.
So next week, we're getting 4 episodes of Real Housewives of Miami. Surprise. All at once on Peacock.
So by the time you guys hear this, Cocktail Party hears it earlier, but it's coming December 8th, so Thursday. So if you're listening to us on Wednesday, tomorrow there's going to be 4 spanking brand new episodes of Miami. I'm so ready. I have to say, they did the girls dirty in the intro and the photos. Did you see that, Amanda?
So I did. And it's so funny because I was like, what is weird? I just figured I was looking on my phone and it was grainy or whatever. And then when you said that, I was like, oh my God, you're right. And then I remembered, do you remember last year or this year, I guess, when Atlanta came out and the ladies did not like their pictures, so they paid to have their own done?
Yes. Yes, right. I do. Oh my God, I didn't remember that until you just said it. So
the
picture's very low budget. I mean, this cast is gorgeous. It's very hard to make them not look gorgeous, but the photos were not the best.
I agree.
So I'm talking to my source, and he told me, he's like, they don't have a budget for Miami, which really confuses me because it's a great show. It's shot out like a cannon. I get it was a reboot, but It did so much better than Dubai, which like begs the question, why haven't they moved it to Bravo? I know they're trying to pump up Peacock, but they could have at least given them better photos. And these are all wealthy women. And we're going to have an exclusive pod this week about some exclusive Miami tea, but I'll leave it at that. You know, they're all wealthy women. Most of them are wealthy.
Yeah.
Why are you putting them on such a budget?
I mean, also though, like to the fan, do we need to do a GoFundMe? Like we can help with this. I know like some people might not have the budget that they may be used to, due to changing circumstances, but like we love these ladies. Let's see it.
I feel like Dr. Nicole can totally bankroll that and it would be not an issue. So maybe we should message her and be like, you could do better than this. Do your own photos.
I agree. I mean, and like, for God's sakes, Peacock, like, if you want us to get excited and then you want your shows to do well enough that you then put them on Bravo and get people excited, and Bravo is then promoting them and your stars are coming to BravoCon, like, pay up. Like, let's give these girls the good pictures. Let's pay up for the good trips. Like, that's what we want to see.
Let's not have it look like OC circa 2009.
Which is so good in its own right, but 100% agree. Like, give these girls the good pictures. So, did you watch, was there a preview? Because I don't know that I saw the one that was a while ago. Was there a new one?
So, there wasn't a new one, but what we know just from the news and social media is that regardless of the crappy photos, we're getting a jam-packed situation here. We have Lisa and Lenny's very, very messy split, which gets messier by the day. We have Julia and Martina seemingly in a bad spot. They sort of, in that preview we got a while ago, they sort of set it up to look like Martina thinks Julia's cheating on her or cheated or something like that. Alexia is newly married, and she's always full of drama. Her son was arrested for domestic violence. I believe it was during filming or around that time. I don't know if we'll see that. I do know that she shows us everything. So if it was during the time, I'm sure she will. He was already at odds with her new husband, Todd.
Yeah.
So that probably can't be great for their relationship, Todd and her son, Peter.
Right.
Dr. Nicole, we're going to see her get engaged. We're going to see the huge engagement party. We're going to see her sell her insane mansion.
I mean, I guess I'm looking forward. Well, no, I know I'm looking forward to seeing Alexia's married life. I am looking forward to seeing Dr. Nicole's new house and like what's happening with that. Okay,
I don't know if
life
is
going
that.
well.
I think they might be in a rental during the season. I think they bought after.
Well,
no,
I get that.
I think they might be in their house still for most of the season. I think they sold after.
Oh, okay. Well,
which is fine because I could look at that house all day.
So things are going well for her. Larsa, we don't know.
We heard she was dating Michael Jordan's son. I mean, which I was okay with until you reminded me that like he grew up like on her lap because they played basketball together, and I was like, that's kind of gross.
I don't know, like generation dating, fine. I am not cool with somebody like dating somebody's kid that they saw growing up. Like, just
listen,
it weirds
if
me out.
My 25-year-old son, which my son obviously is a kid, but if my 25-year-old son decided to date a 40-something-year-old woman, that would absolutely be his choice, and I would have zero issue with it. If my son decided to date one of my friends,
right,
that watched him grow up, that would be weird.
That is my point. That is like, again, like 100%. That would be so weird if I was like, oh yeah, remember like the time we all like were at our kids' basketball tournament and blah, blah, blah. And like the kids were like, no, that's weird. That's really fucking weird.
That's what makes it weird.
Yes. And so Adriana, we don't know much about what's going on with her yet either.
Well, so here's the thing. I have some exclusive tea, speaking of Adriana. The network doesn't plan on ever making Adriana or Marisol full-time housewives. To me, it's a little confusing, but the source says it's confusing because they're featured as if they're full-time housewives. But the source says the producers like them in the friend role. It's enough for them and they bring it. So maybe because I know in Adriana's case, I don't believe her son wants to be filmed. And I don't know. But it's basically a permanent decision as far as my source knows. Like, it's not like up for debate.
Well, I was just going to ask you about that because, you know, I've had like my little soapbox about Marisol or Marisol. I always call her Marisol because that's how you pronounce it in Spanish. But why she doesn't have a mojito? That's what they hold, right? Mm-hmm. In Miami. Like, is it because her fiance or is it her husband? I can't remember if she's married or not. Is that because he doesn't want to be on, or like, what's the deal? Because she always is so great. So it must be something about her personal life that she's not a full housewife, I think, right?
It must be. It must be maybe because, I mean, as far as I know, Marisol doesn't work. So I think back in the day, she was like a party planner or something.
Yeah.
Or something.
I remember. A PR. She was in PR.
PR. But yeah. I just think that, I don't know, maybe because the other women show their careers and show their families. Her husband is on it. I mean, he goes out to dinner and he's filmed, so.
Oh, okay.
Maybe she's not willing to dive deep, you know?
Maybe. And, like, I get that. Like, hold some stuff sacred for yourself. Like, I get it. So, did you watch Southern Hospitality, Leva's new show this week?
You know, I have to say, I really enjoyed Leva in this boss, mama bear, LVP-esque role a lot more than I thought I would. I thought it was a great show. It's entertaining. There's beautiful people. There's sexual tension. There's love triangles. All the stuff that made Vanderpump Rules a great show. I know some people speculated that these are just people that were hired to look like they're on the show. But for me, I mean, it didn't seem that way. They're young, and young people make bonds quickly. Like, if I think back to when I was in college, my friends became my best friends, like, within the first few weeks, right? So it's clear that they're intertwined now, right? Whether that's fairly new or whether it's 2 years back, you're dealing with young people in their 20s, you know? So I thought it was great. I'm watching.
I mean, like, I guess some of them are like, we've been working together 4 years, right? Like, some of them, not so much.
Right.
I don't know. I'm still having a little bit of a hard time. And by the way, you're 100% right. Like, the people that you meet at certain ages in your life, like, become good friends. Like, there are a couple times in your life where it's like, you know, elementary school, high school, college, when you have kids, you know, whatever. Those are the times in your life that, like, it's easier to make friends. But I don't know. I'm still having a hard time with Leva. I really, really want to like her as this, like, badass boss bitch. But I guess I'm just still holding on to some stuff from Southern Charm. And, like, I'm liking her better seeing her on this show. I'm just still not 100%, like, don't feel like she's being all, like, genuine, like, trying to, like, fit into this, like, role of the like, the boss lady. So but I am leaving the door open to, like, give her a chance and, like, really see more of her.
Well, I mean, ahead of this, people had a lot to say about her and how when she was filming Southern Charm, she made it all about her new show, which is Southern Hospitality. I mean, if we're putting it in perspective, Amanda, I know, like, we want to see her more there. I almost feel like I can relate to this version of her because I'm seeing her operate 4 restaurants, bars, which how many people are working for her and her husband, Lamar?
Right.
She's a mom to a young son. So it gave me the perspective of how busy her life really is. Whereas most of the cast on Southern Charm don't have children. They certainly don't have 4 businesses, except for Craig, who has several businesses. Also, insider info, I've mentioned it before, Craig is an investor in some of Leva's restaurants. I mean, like, Austin peddles 1 beer. Shep lives off his trust fund, and the rest of the girls are basically influencers. So, you know what I mean? Like, seeing her in this role allowed me, granted, if she was filming Southern Charm, she should have turned it on a bit more, right?
Yeah.
But it kind of allowed me to see where her headspace was at with, like, I don't want to go on that trip. Like, I could see myself feeling that way, which begs the question, does she have a spot? Should she have a spot on Southern Charm? Like, yeah. I wouldn't deserve a spot. And I don't really think everyone was so sad to see Cameron go, but I felt about Cameron, not that I disliked her. I would have been happy to watch her in a show that was more appropriate to her lifestyle, but it would be like me hanging out with the Southern Charm people, right? And like just asking questions and not showing my husband and not showing my kid. Like, what's the point?
You were like, what do you mean you have to go to your son's lacrosse game? I'm a choice. Exactly. Like, I want to go see my kid play. I want to go see my kid play basketball. And, like, I don't get to choose that they play at 7:00 on a Friday night. Like, that's what time they play. So, yes, I agree with you on that. And maybe you're right. Maybe her place is not on Southern Charm, and that's what I'm reacting to. So I think that's actually something I never really thought about. Like, I do think it's interesting. Of course, they're doing it this way, right? Like, of course, they're not calling it a spinoff of Southern Charm, but they're making it feel like an easy continuation of the world of Southern Charm, right? Like the music sounds kind of similar and the editing is very similar. Like how you see stuff get sped up and slowed down and sped up and slowed down, and they like go back and forth between the like people getting ready and whatever. So like that made sense to me. And then of course they showed Naomi in that
scene. They also showed Madison.
Yes. So I'm like, okay, all right. So I am like 100% willing to like watch, and I am definitely, like I say, I really want to like her. I want to like Leva. So like I am fully invested in giving her a chance.
You want to read that email that we got?
Yes. Okay. So we got this week. It's called From Southern Oh No. Subject, Southern Jealousy. Overheard Austin, our favorite person, drunkenly at 167 Raw, complaining about Southern hospitality. He was calling the cast members of Southern Charm, or calling the cast members of the show Southern Charm wannabes and rejects. He said that TJ has been trying to get casted onto Southern Charm for years, but was never a good fit. Made a comment that the network is forcing the current Southern Charm cast members to advertise the new show, but he thinks they are all losers. Anon, please.
I mean, I absolutely believe it. Listen, I get it. It's not like he came out and publicly said this, right? Somebody overheard this or is a bad friend and he confided in them and they sent it to us. But either way, listen, there's competition in all of these shows, and especially a new show with young people that's going to draw people in. Of course, there's going to be some jealousy there. They don't want this show to be so popular that people are like, who cares about Southern Charm?
Right.
And,
and what about Austin made it so that he was a good fit for Southern Charm?
I mean, I never got
versus TJ.
Right. But the thing that stands out to me is that you should have a little bit more grace because you just end up looking petty.
Right.
You know? But again, he didn't say this publicly. I actually don't follow. Well, I'm blocked by Austin and I also blocked him. I haven't seen him support. Has he supported them? I haven't seen much support. I saw a lot of Bravo accounts.
I have to look. I haven't actually looked in a while. But I haven't seen his stuff. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, there he is. No, I am not. He doesn't know who I am. He's reading Harry Potter. I don't know. But I am not a good viewpoint because I follow so many people, guys. Like, I don't know that the Instagram, even the nights that I have insomnia and I go deep in Instagram and then I text B the next day, like, he doesn't show up in my Instagram a ton. So I don't know, but I haven't seen anything from him. So I don't know. It makes him sound a little bitter, I think. I agree with you. If I were him, I would be following the company line and saying, yes, bravo, sir, when I was asked to promote the show. Right. But I mean, I don't know. I think given a few years on the show and given his success, then it's hard for him to remember what it was like when he was coming into a show that he wasn't proven and he wasn't like a beloved character, which I know so many people love him.
Well, and it's not just that. I mean, there's also Winter House on the line as well.
Right.
You know, like, yeah, they'll be on Southern Charm and maybe they'll put these young kids on Winter House and that's a loss of a check. So listen, there's reasons why he would be bitter. And I mean, I'm not going to begrudge him that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of the young kids, let's talk about VPR. So,
yeah, the 40-year-old young kids.
I know. Yeah. Like, actually, let's restate that. The people who mostly don't have kids and work at the bar and who are very entertaining. So love Vanderpump Rules. So there was an email this week that basically sounded like it was Raquel and Tom were made to be like essentially bullshit storyline, and that he actually has a girlfriend who is Kristen's friend who Tom practically lives with, and all the like stuff that he was saying like on Watch What Happens Live and at BravoCon, saying like, I'm so sad about Katie, that it's all kind of a lie and that like he's had this other girl the whole time.
Yeah, so apparently he doesn't want to lose his good guy image because I guess we were right. We initially said the Rachel situation was a storyline. I think you called her.
Was it Rochelle? What's her name?
Raquel.
Okay.
Yeah, well, her government is Rachel, but she goes by Raquel. But you call her Rochelle. You combine.
I usually do call her Rochelle, right? What? I don't know what I call her this time. Okay.
So we heard a long time ago, and then with Raquel being so extra at BravoCon, wearing a Tom shirt. Like, you and I were confused because our source told us it was bullshit. And actually, somebody told me that Jax Taylor came out and said it was a bullshit storyline. So they may have made out, but it was never a thing. So Raquel even posted a picture of Tom and the girl, whose name is Joe, holding hands at a concert this weekend. Not surprised. The biggest takeaway for me is that Tom just seems lazy. I always thought he seemed sweet, but he didn't seem to have... I mean, he just expected to coast through his relationship with Katie, didn't give her much thought. It seems like he's fortunate that Sandoval kind of drags him along on these, you know, bars and stuff because he doesn't seem to have much drive or ambition. He can't even muster the energy to date outside of his group. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So This girl is his stylist and Sandoval's stylist, I found out today. Oh. And she's very good friends with Kristen.
Right. Because I saw the stuff about her being friends with Kristen, and I was like, wait a second. I also saw that Kristen was at Jackson Brittany's for Thanksgiving because they had a lot of the Vanderpump Rules people. And like Kristen made a like big deal of like being on a live to be like, we're friends again. Everything's good with Jax because like they had their like thing. So now I feel like I wish I could go back and like look and see who else is in the background.
And people are saying, oh, but Katie did have a boyfriend. It's my understanding that she was casually dating, but it wasn't an actual boyfriend. And like, why is Tom in the press crying about her moving on when he in fact has somebody who's sleeping at his house most nights?
Maybe he's smarter than we all gave him credit for.
Well, he knows that this oh, I'm the sweet, cute, dopey guy has, you know, it's gotten him this far. And of course, he doesn't want to get slammed. He's happy to let Katie look like the crazy one. But obviously, this is the sort of shit, and I don't mean the cheating, but just like the acting like one person in public and actually being another person at home. Clearly, he's capable of doing that. So,
yeah,
there we go.
Yep. I totally agree.
Anyway, this season will be great.
now I'm actually really looking forward to it. Like, I didn't watch the last season, but like knowing that Lala and Katie, like so much is going on with them, like I am actually very much looking forward to seeing this. And I'm looking forward to seeing Sheena's wedding and all of that. So, and like the new bar opening, and what's it called again? Tom and Schwartzy's? Schwartz and Sandy's. That's right. Yes.
Sandy's and Schwartz.
Goodness gracious. Like, honestly, name. Like, we need to make an LA tour. Like, that should be our first stop. Like,
right?
Go do an LA tour. Go to all of it. Like, Villa Blanca. Like, is Villa Blanca still open? I don't even know. All of these places. And, like, go and have drinks and report back to the cocktailers.
I would love that.
That would be God's work.
Speaking of Beverly Hills... I mean, what? I'm sure you heard this rumor, and apparently she came out today, Kim K. Balenciaga is trying to get her to accept more money to keep their business relationship. I think she's saying she's not doing it, but I heard on Heather McDonald's podcast that they own 20% of Skims. So Nordstrom is accepting all of their products without tags. Like, I don't know the whole Kim thing. I mean, to me, knee-jerk reaction, and what's really bothering me, I get that there's probably monies involved. I get all of that. But I'm sorry. There are very few things left that we as people agree on. And the safety of our children should be number one, period. And if you can't, I don't care what celebrity you are and what money is involved, if you can't speak out in favor of protecting children, then fuck you.
Yeah. And like,
this isn't political. It's not political. There's nothing political about it being disgusting. This is not a crazy conspiracy theory. I don't believe in all these crazy conspiracy theories. I never have. I never went down those rabbit holes. This is blatant. This is proven. Yes. This is facts. Yes. We all saw this with our eyes. The New York Times had to change the title of one of their articles because they tried to link it to QAnon.
Yes.
Bullshit. And what the F?
Yes. I saw that on House and Habit, and I'm like, fuck that shit. I'm just gonna say it. I really do my best to not cuss on this. I still do, but like, fuck that shit, people. You guys are kids. I said this last week. I was listening to it again because I was like, what exactly did I say? Because I was so heated about this. Like, again, if we are not all speaking up for the safety of our children, all of our children are at risk. And this, and like, I love the way that House and Habit says it. She's like, this is something all of us should be able to get behind.
Right.
Doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on.
And that's a bigger conversation and something that somebody can dive into. I don't want to go there because I don't feel like being infuriated. And for me, this podcast is fun and light, and so is the account, which is why I don't talk about my political views. Nobody's interested. I'm not changing anybody's mind if I tell them who I'm voting for. And that's not the point of this podcast. But
I will never stop talking about fucking like standing up for children, though. They don't have a voice, and I'm sorry. I had a few glasses of wine, as I've mentioned. I just get really pissed about this because I was actually thinking about this. I'm like, okay, like, I'm Kim Kardashian, and like, I clearly do not have the resources that she does, right? But I'm like, okay, let me just try to put this into perspective for me. I have a 401k. What if, like, today I find out, like, the 401k is, like, money that is, you know, from a, you know, child Balenciaga, right? Like, am I willing to walk away from that in the name of like protecting children? 100%. 100%. I feel that strongly. Like, this is, and I don't understand how anybody could choose money over the protection of children.
No, I agree. And, you know, a lot of our listeners messaged me and they were like, thank you for talking about this. I don't know why mainstream media isn't. And I have to be honest with you. It makes me, and I know it makes all of us, or it should make all of us, very uncomfortable and very nervous about like some sort of underbelly that maybe we are naive to. And you know what? I'm just going to leave it there because, again, this is not what this podcast is about. And I'm not interested in that. I want to keep things light. That's why I have the space in my life.
Agreed. But look, I mean, New York Times did change their title of that article, and they changed the first paragraph and a little of the way they handled the article. And that was interesting to me. But I also know the way that things can work and people can influence the way things are put out in the news. And so I don't know if that was more of a let's try to not make the Kardashians look bad kind of situation, or if it was more of a who knows. Like, I truly don't believe that there is like a world order that is hurting children. Like, I think there are some bad people out there, and I'm trying to give everybody grace with this, but like, for fuck's sake, people, like, this is something exactly as House and Habit said, like, we should all be able to get behind, like, protect our children. Speak up.
Because what's left? If we can't agree on this, what's left? We are really depraved if we can't all agree on this.
Agreed. I looked up and like, there was a term that I didn't even know was a thing. I don't even want to say the word. That is like a word for like child abuse that people who are pedophiles use, that I just thought was like a description of the way a certain Chinese bear looks. I did not know that is like a slang for...
I don't even know what you're talking about, so you'll have to text me.
Well, I'll just say, like, no, I don't even want to say it. It's so fucking awful.
Let's switch gears.
Yes,
I'm getting
agreed.
myself all hot and bothered.
Please, God, because I will not get off this topic because I'm so pissed about it.
Me too.
Okay, so Balenciaga. Let's talk about Teresa.
So she calls in to a radio station in Boston from her vacation in Paris. And can I tell you the way my phone was freaking booming the morning this happened? So she's calling up to talk about an appearance in Boston. Mind you, we learn after the fact that she had a very long list of things that the radio show hosts were not allowed to talk about. Her wearing Balenciaga was one of them, which, to be completely fair, I appreciate that Barlow and Tamra spoke out about Balenciaga. These aren't A-list people, guys. Like, if there's some crazy weird thing going on, it's not Teresa doing it, okay? She probably packed that stuff to go on a trip. It all went down while she was in Europe. I'm gonna give her a pass on the Balenciaga.
So you think that she had a like contractual obligation to wear shit?
I don't think she's high enough level to have any contractual obligation to.
So then why wouldn't she talk out about it?
Because she probably didn't know what to say, and she probably just wanted to avoid it because she wore it after the scandal broke, so it made her look misinformed and like uncaring to kids. Like, she should have known.
Got it.
I think it just goes back to like her being dopey and in her love bubble. Like, I don't think that she had. I think she wishes she had some sort of contractual obligation to a powerhouse like Louis Vuitton. Half the stuff she wears is fake. There's a great account, Real Housewives Fashions or whatever it is. I'll tag them in my stories once this airs. And he always puts side-by-sides of the real products and Teresa and like some other housewives wearing them. And it shows like the letters are all off and they don't line up properly and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so on that list was Balenciaga was talking about her brother, so the radio hosts were not allowed to talk about these things.
Yeah.
The guy mentions prison. And he's just like, well, I know, we all know you did some time in prison and then you wrote a book, and she just flips out.
No, it was shady. He was like, did you write anything in your book about food in prison?
Outright, yeah. But it was kind of funny. But she went crazy. She had to be all namaste. She hangs up on them.
Yeah.
And then I think her PR agent got on the phone, or James, that bootleg attorney that her and freaking Angelina from Jersey Shore used. They roasted her after. They've been giving interviews about how she's the rudest person. They also reposted, like, I did a summary of it on the website because everyone was asking me for the link. So I just put it all, like, whatever I knew on the website. They reposted my story, this radio show. Yeah. Reposted the story, and I can't.
I mean, the Bravo and Cocktails, like, send us tea hotline was also lit up, and we kept getting all these emails. So, like, I looked it up too. I was like, here's a link to the actual interview. Like, started it at whatever. I'm like, it's so good. It really was. So good. And then,
I mean, I don't think she was as rude. So what I found out was the host, I think it's Bill Costa. I don't live in Boston, but I've definitely heard the name. He's definitely like a well-known guy. I don't think she was like, she did hang up on them, but I don't think she was as rude as.
No.
I mean, and somebody, like a lot of people said, like, she was in prison in 2015. It's 2022. But you're going on a radio show. They want to say stuff that people want to tune in for. If they just talk about your appearance, you know what I'm saying? You can't talk about Balenciaga. You can't talk about the beef with your brother. What's left to talk about? The crown that you wore at your wedding again?
I mean, good point. But like, if you're Teresa's people, like, also say, like, she's gonna, like, Andy Cohen was even like, well, what did she freak out about? And somebody was like, oh, they brought up prison. He's like, well, no shit. Like, I personally blame Teresa's people for not being like, please don't bring up prison. Like, let's not talk about the divorce. Like, let's talk about the podcast. Let's talk about the show. Let's talk about.
Right. They could have been like, are we going to see a lot of drama this season without mentioning her brother? And, you know, she may have just mentioned it because. She may forget her own list.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get it. And I listen to it too. But I think if you're listening to it live and you would be like, oh my gosh, like, you don't usually hear people talk back to the host like that. And then what was funny is then the host talked about this for like another 2 days, like 2 hours, and like the next day again. Like, they got a lot of mileage out of it too. So again, this is the way the media cycle works. People are tuning in now
from all over and streaming it that don't live in Boston, that are Housewives fans, and yeah,
all of us are reposting it. But you know what?
Teresa does clickbait on nonsense just like everybody else. Like, I love when people like, oh, and they're taking advantage of her. She made her wealth off of a show that exploited her own family.
Yeah.
She does clickbait. Like, whenever anyone's like, you post so mean about her. Vicky Gunvalson, as an example, had clickbait today with Lisa Rinna's face saying, terrible news, she's finally cut, or something like that. I didn't click it. I don't need to click it. I know it's not true because I know it wouldn't be a clickbait article. It would be in People, or TMZ, who's number one to drop. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. But so these people do the clickbait for other housewives who are essentially their colleagues, and then they want to be salty with a radio show host or a blogger or a podcaster. Get the hell out of here.
I know. Agreed.
You're biting the hand that feeds you.
Biting the hand that feeds you. Totally.
But you're also, you do the same shit yourself.
100%. I'm sure Vicky has something to say about that. I mean, Teresa would be freaking pissed. So, see, look, I'm trying to use frick. Okay. So, but I also, did I tell you I looked up the like concert hall or wherever where the show is, because I'm like, I wonder if this has helped the publicity or hurt it. Right. And I looked it up and there's a lot of tickets still available. I don't remember what day they're doing it. I want to say it was like December 3rd, but I might be wrong about that.
So a lot of followers told me that this is a very popular morning show, and I know Boston people are like New York people, but like even fiercer in the way that they're fiercely loyal. And they're basically, they said that the people who already bought tickets likely won't show.
Whoa. Yeah. Well, it doesn't, I mean, based on the ticket sales, because I will like be quite honest, I was looking at a Giggly Squad show that is months away from now, and there were only like 43 tickets left, and this Teresa show is like days away. So,
Giggly Squad has a whole act and stuff they do, whereas Teresa's going to go there, wave, and not let anyone ask her anything. The same as on the talk show. So why am I going?
Yeah.
Or why is anyone going? Just to see her?
Well, we got an email that seems like it could be about her. Curious to hear what everybody thinks. So it says it's from Anon. Subject is setting her up. And it says, he's laying the groundwork for her being the bad guy, coming out and saying her brother is a good person. I think the radio interview shows she's clearly unhappy and in distress. This is typical NARC. I think it might mean narcissist, not narc as in like.
Right.
Yeah. Narcissist behavior. He is prepping for the season to be his season and laying the groundwork to make her the villain after that. He gets his quote unquote vindication this season and makes it a point to come off as a hero. It's all a con.
So if this is who we think it is, it reminds me at the reunion when she was feuding with Marge and he Louis made up with Marge at the reunion, and you just see Teresa's face like shocked. He calls Marge a wonderful person. He hugs her. And like Teresa sat there confused and shocked. Like obviously he totally derailed from whatever they had discussed. And most recently, he was on her podcast. Followers told me this. And Louis praised her brother, who she's currently not speaking with, okay? Who didn't attend their wedding. And the reason they didn't attend, we don't know specifics, but it's because Melissa and Joe had it out with Louis, right? But he goes on there and he praises him and says, I know when I met Joe, we bonded. And even though like we went through things, in my heart, he's a really good person. So he didn't attend your wedding. Teresa's very unhappy with him. Yeah. Why are you saying these positive things about her brother? Why are you making Joe Gorga look like a good guy and yourself look like this wonderful, forgiving person? Is he going to paint her as some irrational woman down the road, like his exes claim he did to them? And this is all, if you follow Instagram, even on the on the
website
last season. But last season he was saying, "Oh, my exes are crazy," and he painted them to be these crazy people. But I gotta say, we got to see how this plays out, because in a general way, something is off about him. From being so successful to, at the reunion, saying he was fired from the company he owns, then publicly finding out that there are SEC lawsuits. Recently, Teresa, Jen, and the new housewife Danielle were with Louis at a Thanksgiving, kind of like a soup kitchen type of thing, with domestic violence victims. There's also documentation that has been shared all over the internet. I did not share it, about domestic violence charges against him from his ex-fiance or wife or both. His ex-fiance actually commented on Jen's picture and she wrote, "Are you effing kidding me?" I mean, the whole thing is not adding up with him. It's like there are police reports and domestic violence reports. And I do acknowledge that he says in the podcast, I've done a lot of work on myself. So that's one thing, but Teresa is not a forgiving person. She's not willing to look past Joe Gorga and Melissa, the fight. So why is he saying that on the podcast? Clearly, she doesn't agree with that the same way she didn't agree with him saying Marge was wonderful and forgiving her.
Did you hear what the word of the year is? It's like Webster's Dictionary. So it's like a word of the year. Did you hear what it was? Gaslighting. Yes. This could be the ultimate gaslighting setup, right? And he'll be like, well, no, I always said he was like a good guy and she's the crazy one, right?
Right.
I don't know. It does to me sound a lot like the way that he totally, to steal Teresa's word, turned the tables on her during the reunion when he was like, oh yeah, goes on Marge's side, and you could tell that just really pissed Teresa up. This seems to me like a pattern, and it just makes me sad for Teresa that she didn't see it coming.
And to be clear, because everyone always says that my account doesn't like Teresa, I do not dislike Teresa. I'm actually rewatching season 6, which, by the way, is very underrated. Everyone hated the twins and Amber. It was a great season, I think.
I need to rewatch it. With that
said, I always like Teresa. I don't like what I'm hearing and the situation she's in. I don't like that. And I'm sorry to say, a happy newlywed doesn't typically flip out on a radio phone call. Something is going on. They're married now. The gaslighting was successful. It's all happening now. If the speculation and the rumors and what the exes claim is true, she's in that phase of, and listen, thanks be to God, I have never dealt with a narcissist in a romantic relationship, but I see it all over the internet. We all do. It's a very hot topic, and it's insane. Apparently it's malignant, and I forget the other one. There's a malignant narcissist, and a follower told me a malignant narcissist is worse because they go for financial ruin.
Oh, I don't know. I have never heard that term.
There's another kind. Cocktails are all going to flood me and be like, B, you don't know that it's a blank narcissist?
Okay, well, you guys tell us and we'll repost it, because
so I don't know that this is not a hit at Teresa. I'm sad for the situation. And I hope it's all wrong and it's just editing and it's the way that the exes have put it out into the media and that none of this is true and that they live happily ever after. That is my hope.
I just want to say
it's not looking good.
100% agree, but I also like just a little tip for Teresa. I mean, next time that you're in Paris and you're calling into Boston for a call and you don't like what's said, you'd be like, what's that? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I think I have a bad connection. Click.
Right.
End conversation.
There was just such anger there, you know?
Yeah. Like, she clearly had something else going on and, like, could not pull the namaste together. And, yeah. Like, just end it. Like, I'm so sorry. I lost my connection. Oops.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. So I also wanted to share with you guys kind of changing subjects because we talked a lot a few weeks ago about what's going on with Naomi Olindo and Ginny Virginia Cox. So if you guys will remember, Ginny filed a suit against Naomi saying, hey, we started this business together as partners and she essentially locked me out. Look it up, go back to the stuff that we talked about. I won't go into too much detail about it, but I wanted to share an update for everybody. And this is not something, I don't know, B, if you've seen anywhere else reported, but so I looked it up last night and according to the court records, they are going to ADR in April, and ADR stands for Alternative Dispute Resolution. So alternative dispute resolution means anything but essentially like going to trial. So that could be not anything but. There's a few different things that ADR could mean, but it could mean generally it's arbitration, mediation, negotiation. And usually if they're going to say in a court record, ADR, it's going to mean arbitration or mediation. So I am very willing to bet that it is mediation, which what I think is interesting is that it has a date on it, which is April of next year. So what I think is strange and a little interesting is that they're not trying to get it done sooner. So I'm wondering if that's because Southern Charm will be filming until April. And so Naomi was like, nope, I'm not going to film until then.
I heard Southern Charm starting to film in January. So they would still be filming because they filmed for 4 or 5 months. So yeah, that makes sense. Basically, they're going to settle, which means she recognizes that she's going to have to do a payoff here and it's not worth her time to try to fight it because there's enough evidence that she's going to have to give her a settlement. So it's better to try to get the plaintiff to agree on a number, then go to trial and have everyone look at evidence and be like, oh shit, she deserves half of whatever you have, you know? Settle.
Or they both are like, oh my God, this is getting real expensive. We're paying lawyers.
If you know or love a personal injury attorney, you will know that settle out is always the goal. Settle out.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because you can lose it all. The plaintiff can lose it all because the jury could be like, this girl worked for you. You gave her a flattering title. She's not entitled to anything, right? You always run that risk. So you always want to just settle. And on the other hand, Naomi wants to settle because the jury could say, oh my God, she totally blindsided her best friend and give her half the company.
Yeah. So this is one of those things, guys. Like, this might be the last update we have because if they do settle and they don't go to trial, we all will hear maybe is that they did settle out of court and that's it. So
it'll be written in that Ginny can't disclose what she received.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, I mean, that makes sense. So anyway, wanted to share that with you guys. On the topic
of these folks, I would like to insert here a Winter House clip because we're recording on Thursday, so we actually haven't watched it yet. But Carl is at Winter House with Lindsay, and he's basically talking to his best friend Kyle about how he's so excited, so in love, and flip to Kyle in a confessional being like, oh, this is bad for Carl because Lindsay's not drinking now, but that's because Carl told her they couldn't be together if she didn't stop drinking. And when she goes back to drinking, they're going to break up. Like, I have to say, I understand you're on reality TV and I have been very pro Kyle recently, but dude, I mean, your friends are happy. How about being happy for them and not worrying about, like, your wife doesn't get mad when you drink too much? Like, pump the brakes with analyzing their 5-month relationship.
I mean, is Kyle just running out of shit to talk about? Like,
maybe, but like, low blow.
I totally agree. But once again, this is why I am not a Bravo producer, because I feel I have been worried about this couple house thing, and I'm losing a little interest in Winter House. I worry about Summer House being the same. I truly hope that's not going to be the case. But I don't really want to see a summer about Lindsay and Carl, and is she drinking or is she not? Like, I don't. I want to see fun, like, outfits and people partying and people hooking up, and I don't want to see a lot of couple drama, but that's just me.
And, like, the sad truth is that on an ensemble cast like Summer House or Southern Charm or any of these shows, you're only going to get 1 or 2 possible breakout stars that can continue this. Eventually it's going to be new people or cut the show altogether. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I guess what we are seeing people cling to their check.
Yeah.
Quick note on Bethany, okay? Because with Bethany's podcast, this is a shout out to all of my fellow content creators. So many good pods.
Yes.
When this airs, I'm going to do a story and I'm going to tag so many people that I know, other Bravo accounts, do awesome rewatch podcasts where they either watch a current show and they just go over it. Like, you know, me and Amanda talk about it, but we don't like exactly rewatch, right? We speculate, we spill tea, whatever. This has been a thing for years. We have all been listening to Bravo content creators do this fantastically, might I add, for years.
Yes.
Bethany was just, I don't even know what morning show she was on. Who cares? It's like she invented the wheel. It would be, if Bethany opened a pizzeria, it would be like as if she created the Sicilian pie. I like Bethany. Mm-hmm. I think she's very engaging. I know her podcast is doing well because somebody who works for iHeart reached out to me when I posted some stuff to say her numbers are great. I don't doubt it. She's engaging. You can do all that without acting like you're the person who created this.
Yes, and Bethany's never heard of Office Ladies, and she's never heard of Back to the Beach, or, God, I'm trying to think of all the other ones that are not even Bravo related that are all about going back and rewatching.
And as a matter of fact, I'm looking for it because I screenshotted it. A follower messaged me, and they were like, "You're so spot on," because I posted this in my stories. And they messaged her when she apparently on Real Housewives of New York, at one point, she said that she had created the ready-made cocktail. And they messaged her and they said, "You absolutely did not create this. The girl is married to a family member that created it." And of course, I can't find the message. I apologize, guys.
We'll post it later.
Later. Long story short, Bethany blocked them. Like, come on. I mean, you can be good at something. I didn't invent spilling tea. Right?
No.
Enty, Dumois, so many. I mean,
you already talked about, like,
Radar Online. There's a million people. Wendy Williams, my number one inspiration. TMZ. There are
the early 2000s, The Awful Truth by Ted Casablancas on E! Online. Like, that was, like, what I would read during my lunch break when I was, like, a very young 20 person. Like, that was the ultimate tea back in the day. So,
I didn't create this by any sense of the imagination. I'm doing my version of it, my spin on it. I hope people tune in. I hope people like it. I didn't create the fucking wheel. I know Amanda tries to not curse. Cursing is it's just part of my vibe.
I try not to curse on the pod as much.
we have
to say explicit, and then it's like, God, are people going to think we're porn? And we're not.
And I always say to, like, my kids, I'm like, do not use bad language because it makes you sound like you don't have a good vocabulary, and here I am throwing out F-bomb.
Well, I'm like,
do as I say, not as I do. I say all that to say I find the Bethany thing particularly annoying. I really do, because you're going to be successful. You had a full freaking ad. You're making $1 million off that pod before your spit ever hit your mic. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't act like you invented it though. That's what bothers me.
Well, and like exactly. Like I wish her all the best, and I do like her, and I think she's super funny. It's like just don't shit on everybody else. Like there is room for all of us. Like let's all lift each other up. Right?
Amen.
And that's what we'll do this week. Like we'll post all the other people who all have other stuff that is like, and you're always so great about that on the Instagram account. So
listen, when you start an account, and all of my fellow content creators know, you repost each other's stuff. That's how you get followers, and it's always a stroke of luck. It's always having a cool name. Bravo and Cocktails is a cool name. I always say that. It's a little bit being funny. It's a little bit trying to find an innovative thing. But at the end of the day, a lot of it is a stroke of luck. And to act like you created something it's just not true.
Right.
It's just a stupid narrative. And I think what pisses me off is when she was you're sending cease and desist to TikTokers, but you're also trying to infringe upon content creators and do what they do.
Right.
Like, you're so wealthy. Leave this to us. Let us earn some freaking money. Let accounts talk about or do it, but don't act like you created it.
Exactly. And like,
do I sound like Austin now about Southern hospitality? I hope not. Listen, I don't do a rewatch pod. I listen to them though. I think they're very cool, but I don't do one. Oh, we do when we talk about Tell Me Lies, and also we're going to get to White Lotus.
Oh, okay, good. Well, we do have a quick update for everybody so a lot of people are invested in this South Carolina socialite and the politician story. So, again, insomnia this week. So I was like, I want to see what's going on with that. We haven't talked about it in a while. So I have to shout out to fitsnews.com, FITS news.com, not like saying like this is like my favorite news source, but they have been covering this story. So I just wanted to credit them. They have done a lot of detail on it. So quick recap for everybody. A woman named Paula Dyer is at the middle of the story. She lives in South Carolina. She's close friends with multiple cast members of Southern Charm. She was married to a man named Ron Rallis, had an affair with a congressman named William Timmons, who is from this old established South Carolina family, according to this news source. So according to Ron Rallis, who is the husband of Paula Dyer, who allegedly cheated on him, Ron Rallis also had some pretty outrageous behavior, I think, on like both online and then in real life. He painted this church pink to raise awareness.
We have to post a picture of that.
They call it the Trap Church, and also had some like pretty outrageous Instagram posts. I think his original Instagram got like totally shut down. So I'm only saying this to just say, like, guys, we're not taking any sides in this. Like, take each side of the story with a bit of a grain of salt. But this news source is what I've been reading about. Ron Rallis has that Paula, his now ex, and William, her affair partner, used William's power as a congressman and a just generally established family in South Carolina to jail Ron for falsely abusing her, which he says that he is innocent of. No idea whether he is or not. But the thing that he goes on and on about is that his daughter was wrongly taken from him. And that's why he's been he's been so loud about raising awareness about the corruption surrounding this case, which makes me a little more believable in my eyes, because he's making it about his daughter and like wanting to be with her. But again, no like big judgments. But the last update we had was that there was some interesting information about property changing hands between William Timmons and his wife Sarah, where William sold Sarah some significant, like, acres and acres and acres of property for a few dollars. So there was speculation at the time, this is back in like September, October, that they were splitting up and that this was part of them handling the divorce, but they just weren't saying that. Well, we just heard that Sarah Timmons, William Timmons' soon-to-be ex-wife, has filed for legal separation. This is the crazy thing. In South Carolina, you have to be legally separated for a year before you can get divorced. So
I think it's the same way in Virginia. There's a friend of mine.
Interesting. I think, so I also read, like, if they find fault in the divorce, then you can have a faster, so if like they can prove that somebody cheated, then you can get a faster divorce. But if nobody proves that, you have to just be legally separated for a year. This article also said that William Timmons wrote a $16,000 check to Sterling, Paula's daughter. She's like a toddler, and that's the limit you can legally gift a person without it being a taxable situation. So, because of the drama around this affair, which has been going on since last summer, William Timmons, the congressman, has lost a lot of staff. He lost his chief of staff, his senior policy advisor, and his scheduler.
Wow. Those are basically the three main people you need.
Yeah. So the crazy thing is, it also says that he is under a preliminary inquiry. So not official investigation, but a preliminary inquiry into allegations that he may have misused taxpayer funds in pursuing his extramarital affair with Paula Dyer.
Oh, snap.
So
we're going to need to follow up on that, Miss Deep Dive.
Oh, constantly. I mean, I don't know why I'm so invested in this story, but I am very invested.
Because
so
it's
I will
kooky.
continue.
I mean, like kooky.
Yes. So
we're basically
we'll see.
Children who grew up with their mothers watching soap operas, and now we're drawn to that.
I mean, it's corruption, there's sex. I mean, all the things that are interesting to me.
Speaking of sex and corruption, spoiler alerts, if you are not up to date on the second season of White Lotus, turn your whatever the hell you're listening to this on off.
Yes.
Let's get into this, okay? Because I did a post, and this was from a follower. Like, one of my girls, our cocktailers, just sent us something, and I was like, and I asked her, I was like, can I post this? Like, I just want to make this a post, and I want people to sound off. And Amanda, what is happening in this show?
Well, you need to tell me, because I haven't seen the post. I've been at this like boozy bingo thing today, so I don't even know what it's about, but I have theories.
From a couple of days ago. Okay.
Oh,
so
okay.
Essentially, okay, I discussed it with you. You said that the villa that the gays brought Tanya to and Portia was the same villa that Harper and
yes, that theory. Okay, so yes,
but no, it's
if you
not.
Guys remember,
somebody said it's not, because they said that this villa is in Palermo and that one was in Nido.
Oh, but it looked like the same villa to me. Like, it had the same like palazzo, like I forget what it's called. Like when you see all the stone, I don't know.
So here's what we got. It says some White Lotus theories. Quentin talks about being in love once with a cowboy from Wyoming. The cowboy is Tanya's husband, Gray. Are they scamming her together? He says about the cowboy, I'd do anything for him, still would. Next, Daphne's kid, Daphne, that's the girl's name, is not Cameron's. When she showed Harper her phone after talking about her blue-eyed trainer, and it's a picture of her kids, let's discuss.
Yes, 100%. She was like, my trainer is blue-eyed blonde hair, look at my trainer. And then Harper's like, that's your kids. And she's like, oh, oops. Like, clearly she's trying to say.
I totally did not get that.
Yes.
Okay, here's how I read that. Can I say how I read that?
Yes.
I read that as her saying, this is why I put up with all his shit and I have my fun on the side because of these two kids. That's what I took from that. Now I'm convinced it's the trainer's kid because of the description of the big blue eyes and the kid. But that when I was watching it, that's not what I got from that.
Okay.
I got like, we stay together for the kids and we allow each other to have fun and it works for us.
I'm going to throw you. Because you and I have not talked about this one. I was talking today to a friend about this, and she's like, oh no. She's like, I think Ethan and Cameron were lovers in college.
Somebody else said that in the comments.
And I'm like, oh my God. That could be very interesting because, like, he doesn't want to have sex with his wife. Ethan doesn't want to have sex with Harper. Like, she's like, he's always just more interested in porn. Daphne is always after
my argument to that
thing.
is his porn is very clearly big-breasted women. So,
well, in that case, but we didn't see it, and we just heard a little bit of it before he was interrupted.
we saw a little bit of it. We saw the big booty hose.
Oh, did we?
We did.
Oh, maybe I missed that part. Shit, why did I miss? And I also apparently missed that Cameron has a giant ding dong, and I missed that. Apparently, I'm like, I need to rewind.
Oh, that's the first. No, maybe that's the second episode.
Where he's like changing in the room. I was like, how did I miss? Like, why did I miss that? I need to go back and look. Clearly, there's a couple of things I need to go back and review. But so I don't know. There's
somebody commented and said, why would Tanya's husband use her for money if his husband's as loaded as Quentin? And I wrote back under my username, Prosecco Princess, Quentin isn't loaded. The villa. So I said your theory. The villa is the same one Daphne and Harper rented, which I don't know that that's true anymore because it's two separate places. But who knows? Nato and Palermo could be like, you know, like saying like Soho and Manhattan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quentin is broke. Remember when his nephew ran out on the rice bowl bill with Portia?
Yeah.
Right. Also, and I'm very, you know, for like a tough New York City girl, I am so naive. I was freaking shocked when the nephew was banging Quentin.
I knew they were like the second that they got on the boat.
But
I was
how
like,
did you know that?
They are for sure scamming her. They've seen her. They're scamming her. And like the nephew is not just a nephew. Like the nephew's in on this con. And like I was not 100% not shocked to see them.
I guess I find it weird because Quentin's so okay with the nephew having sex with Portia on the boat, and like I just didn't get the vibe.
Because it's all part of the deal, right? And Quentin's like, let's start at the beginning. I am so interested in you, and I have this fabulous life, but I really want to know everything about you. I'm like, that's interesting to me.
Well, so somebody said that they had a feeling Quentin was broke the minute his nephew said they kept hanging out with old rich ladies. And when she said it was nice to know someone else had money so they don't try to take hers. I agree that was very telling about the scheme. Yeah. Listen, I wasn't too naive to the scheme. It could be Greg. It's almost like Greg left. And then remember that night when Greg had left, they were sitting at dinner and those gay guys were looking over and smiling at her.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I also, when she goes, is that the Queen of Sicily? I just about wet the bed. I mean.
That's what makes her so endearing, right? Like, he takes her to, and so, like, I have seen, I think, 2 operas in my life, and Madame Butterfly is one of them, and it is stunning, right? And so, like, to see that in Palermo, like, amazing. And to see that from a box, and, like, he's really clearly set it all up. Even if I'm wrong and that's not the same villa, then clearly Daphne, by kidnapping Harper for the day and saying, like, we're staying here, you can rent this villa for the night, is establishing that this is a thing that can be done, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, going a little bit off topic, somebody thinks the pimp that Lucia and Albie saw on the street is a plant so that Lucia can ultimately squeeze a lot of money from Albie. Like
100%.
You don't have to pay me. She knows that he has access to his father's bank account and that that's actually her boyfriend and it's all a setup.
Yeah.
Someone wrote Cameron's the worst, but I'm still down to DTF, which down to, you know.
All right, we're recording this on Friday. The next episode comes out on Sunday. There will still be one more. Who do you predict will be the person who shows up dead on the beach?
So the leg looked like a man's leg. I don't believe that the guy who grabs Daphne when she runs out is her husband, although they want us to think that. I think it's quite possible it's Cameron or Ethan. It was a tan leg. It looked like a man's leg, but I mean...
So I feel like, again, I need to go back because I don't remember the leg. But here's an interesting theory. What if, like, the thing with White Lotus is it's always, and sorry guys, again, spoilers if you haven't watched the first season, but what if it's always the person who runs the hotel? Because I feel like the girl who's running the hotel, like, she is running into her own character arc and, like, something's going to happen with her too.
No, but she's there when they're pulling the bodies from the ocean.
Oh, she is? Amanda. Oh, shit. Yes. Never mind. Okay.
So somebody wrote this, and this is an interesting perspective. I think Daphne snaps. Did anyone else pick up on Cam saying Ethan and him were in different dating pools in college? Yeah. That had me thinking one of them might be hiding something, maybe being gay. But then again, Ethan and his porn, because I'm telling you, it was like big-breasted women, and Cam with Lucia. Also, I go back to the statue from episode 1 about cheating and cutting off the head. Suicide seems to be a big theme this season. Little comments from Tanya and Harper staring off the cliff after finding the condom wrapper. Madame Butterfly, all these theories combined, this could end so many ways. I'm obsessed. This is from TT on the site.
It's so good. It's so good. And like the ocean just looks threatening. In between every scene, it's like threatening ocean. It's so good. I can't wait to like finish
I can't wait. Well,
I really want to go to Sicily.
So I have to tell you something. I have been to Taormina. I was a study abroad student in Florence, as were you. My best friend came to visit me. All my roommates went. I forget where they went, but it was somewhere like not desirable. And my girlfriend, dad is Sicilian American. She's like, does your train pass do Sicily? I was like, yes. She's like, let's go. Taormina. It was the most incredible. And listen, I mean, I was studying in Florence. We were traveling all over. It was incredible. The train literally went onto the boat. It was, I can't even explain.
What?
It was otherworldly. Yes. So I don't even know how it happened. To be honest, we had drank like a gallon of Chianti. It was an overnight thing. We didn't sleep. Maybe I was delirious. Anyway, when I got married, my husband and I honeymooned in Italy, and we did, Venice, Florence, Rome. And then he was like, let's do Amalfi. I made us pay a significant amount of extra money to fly to Taormina because that's how important it was for me to go back. And my husband, when he got there, was like, totally get it. Like, totally get it. So,
cute.
And when this came out, my first thought was, are you freaking kidding me? They're like pricing us out of Taormina because it was always obviously a popular place, but it's going to be so much more. Like, you definitely can't go this summer or next.
No, for sure not. I know. I exactly had that same thought because I've had so many amazing Italian moments, and I'm like, God, that's like one of the places I haven't been that I've wanted to go. And I'm like, love White Lotus, but I hate you too.
If you are a young person and you are listening to this and you're like not tethered to anything, stop buying your Dunkin' Donuts or your Starbucks in the morning, save your money, and travel.
Yes.
Travel. Get yourself on a plane. I went to study abroad all by myself. All my friends went to Australia. I was the only one from my school, from my college. And I was like, I want to study in Italy. I want to live in Italy for 6 months. My mom was Italian. I mean, she was Brooklyn Italian. Let's be clear. She was not an off the boat, but I wanted to live there. I did do it. Whatever sacrifice you have to make in the short term, you like Amanda.
Yes. Encourage your kids to do it too, guys. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, my kids. My brother studied in London in the Parliament. He's an attorney today.
So cool.
Yeah. And like, I'm not saying this from like a wealthy person's perspective. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there were sacrifices made to do these things. So this is not like for the elite.
No, but like there's things that come with your like tuition. One of which is a trail pass, like the train pass. Like, yeah, we should talk about this like a whole.
What about the vouchers we got for meals? Do you think they still do that? We had vouchers where we could go to cafes every meal, trattorias.
Oh, you did. I did not have this. Oh. What was this?
Okay, so we had vouchers. Okay, I'm going to tell a quick story. I feel like maybe I'm boring the cocktailers. Sign off if you're bored. Cocktail party. We have some great extra tea coming up. Okay, very quickly. So we did a 3-week immersion program in Siena, Italy, which was incredible. It's a very little town. Siena. If you're going to Italy, please go. And then we went to Florence. So I had done this immersion course, Amanda. So basically I was fluent in Italian. I walk in for breakfast before my first class and I order Cheerios because, I don't know, I guess I was sick of croissants or I was watching my waistline, and a cappuccino. I get a cereal bowl of cappuccino with Cheerios in it. So I'm like, all right, this is what they do in Florence, right? So I stand at the counter with all the other people who are Italian that live in Florence, and I'm eating my Cheerios in my cappuccino. And they're all like looking at me and whispering, and I'm just slowly realizing, very slowly, because I'm a little slow to the jump sometimes. And I look over at the girl standing next to me and I'm like, I ordered this wrong. She's like, you asked for cereal in your cappuccino. And then I remembered that the young man that was helping me behind the counter serving me was like, are you sure? But like, I don't speak Italian. So I was like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, you can just, if you can go back and switch it. I'm like, no, that's okay. So I continue to eat it because now at this point, like, I'm all in. Okay. I'm in. This is what I ordered.
Like at that point, like I have to just and like just jump into this. Like, it was so important when you're sitting around to try to fit in and like look like you were like part of to look like you lived there, right? Or at least fit in.
Well, the funny thing
to me,
if I didn't open my mouth, I look very Italian. So if I don't open my mouth, nobody would have been any the wiser. But you know what a dead giveaway is? Eating Cheerios.
North Face jacket. All of the college kids, we all had like North Face jackets and all of the Italians.
I was committed, not me. I did the diesel. I committed to living in Florence, okay? Except that I ordered Cheerios in a cappuccino. So that was a dead giveaway. No baseball hat, no sneakers, and no North Face jacket. However,
I for sure did not wear but like I didn't know that you have to wear like your fancy jacket. Like, I learned and like bought a fancy jacket when I was there, but anyway, that's too funny.
I think I'm still paying off credit card bills from my semester in Florence.
Oh, I love it. It's so cute. It's so worth it. I love it.
Travel cocktailers.
Do it. Encourage your kids too. I always talk to my kids about how amazing it is that I did
Two
that.
Things my kids are doing. They're going away to college and they're studying abroad.
For sure. 100%.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna force them, but I'm going to encourage.
All right. So cocktailers, we want to hear, and of course you're going to be hearing this after the next episode. So things will change a little bit, but like, let's hear your theories about what's going to happen in the finale. Cause B and I are very invested in this show.
Side note, Tell Me Lies is coming out with a second season. No, I don't know when, but
I know, that was my first question. I'm like, do you know when? When? When is this happening?
Don't know. I could look into it.
I know. We need to know because it's going to be good.
So good.
Well, thank you, cocktailers. And by the way, I just wanted to say, and B and I both wanted to say, thank you guys for those of you who have joined the membership. Emailing with some of you, like, you are all so fun and we're so excited. This community is just building into this just really fun place that we all want to be all the time. So like, it's so fun. So thank you guys for those of you who are joining and those of you who are thinking about joining or thinking about giving it as a gift. We look forward to having you part of the community as well.
I mean, I have to tell you, we had quite the launch and I was like surprised and so humbled that you signed up for us and with us, and we're going to keep pumping it out. We love our community and you guys are the best. And listen, you can always join. You never have to feel left out. That's the good news.
We're very inclusive. Well, we love you guys.
Till next time.
Till next time. Thank you guys so much for listening. Just want to ask you guys a favor, just getting kicked off. So many people have been asking us to do this podcast. So please do subscribe. And if you've subscribed, go to your podcast app and hit those 3 little dots to share with your friends, but only friends who like good tea, because the ones who don't care about tea, then like forget them. And don't forget, find us on Instagram at bravoandcocktails_. And check out the website because some great tea gets put there daily that would get us kicked off of Instagram. So thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye, guys. See you next time.